Movement Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, both sides have expressed faith that the negotiation process will be successful.
At the Bomas of Kenya today, the representatives of the two warring political sides arrived for the first day of the talks. Wiper Democratic Movement leader Kalonzo Musyoka reiterated that the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition is not in the talks to discuss party interests, but issues affecting Kenyans.
As leader of our delegation and on behalf of our coalition, I believe Kenya Kwanza does too. I believe that although we have been seconded here by our parties, we are here for our nation, first and foremost. Dialogue, peace, stability and prosperity in whose name we gather here are not party issues.
Majority Leader in the National Assembly Kimani Ichung'wah, however, got into the meeting late and was represented by Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire before arrival.
And we've been sent here by the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to come and sit with our brothers to find a solution to the issues that are being brought on the table. We come here in good faith. We come here putting the interests of the people of Kenya first.
The two teams have agreed that the technical teams representing both sides will have a sitting by Friday to work on generating documents necessary for the dialogue process before the talks officially commence on Monday. After hours of deliberations, the two sides have agreed that the dialogue process can only begin after the agenda items have been framed. They have also called for mutual respect between members representing both sides and also those involved in the dialogue process not to disclose matters discussed during the periods of negotiations. Apart from the 5-member teams, both sides have also selected members for backup. Former Ndaragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni will lead the Azimio technical team, while members of the backup team will include former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria, Roots Party Leader George Wajakoya, Professor Adam Selo, and former Yala Member of Parliament Zain Abu Bakar. Kenya Kwanza Alliance backup team will include Tiati Member of Parliament William Kamkwet, Teso South Member of Parliament Mary Emasi, and Teso North Member of Parliament Edward Kaunya. The dialogue process between the two warring political factions is expected to last for a number of days as both sides aim to arrive at an agreement on matters affecting the nation. Arno Dida, KUTV.
And President William Ruto has concluded his 5-day development tour in Mount Kenya region that began on Saturday. The head of state, who has continued to commission and recommission stalled government projects, maintains a firm stand against power sharing, noting that the government will not entertain any form of violence in the country. Lynette Minor tells us more in this report.
President William Ruto's 5-day development tour in the Mount Kenya region has come to a halt, with the latest development project being the launch of Naromoru Level 4 Hospital and Karimenu Water Project. While addressing the Naromoru residents, President Ruto affirmed that the government will not condone any form of violence, a vice he said is derailing development in the country.
Kenya will never again entertain currency around violence. Violence can never be part of the currency of the political equation of the Republic of Kenya. Tumekubaliana ya kwamba mambo ya vita, kama ni mashindano, tushindane kwa mawazo, tushindane kwa mpango. Na hawa watu tuliwashinda mapema. So walikuwa wanazunguka hapa na kitendawili sijui na nini, tukawanyorosha waende nyumbani. Unajua wamezoea tabia mbaya. Wanalete fujo ati ndio wapate kitu. Walilete fujo kwa Moi, wakapatiwa cooperation. Wakakuja wakasumbua mzee wetu Kibaki mpaka wakawapatia nusu mkate. Wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru mpaka wakaenda na handshake. Mimi nawatangazia mapema mchana, hii ya hasla hii, hiyo wasahau na wasahau.
Among President Ruto's bag of goodies for the region include today's launch of Naromoru Level 4 Hospital, Thika and Gishugu affordable housing projects, ending with Karimenu Thika Water Project on his way back to the city. To underline Kenya Kwanza's commitment in fulfilling the bottom-up agenda, the head of state has issued a series of pledges, which include third phase of Hustler Fund, creation of youth job opportunities through the housing project, building of roads, counties aggregation industrial parks, employment of more teachers, improving health and agricultural sector, among others.
Mwaka huu tumesema kama serikali ya Kenya, vile tunapanga masomo ya watoto, vile tunataka kupanga ajira, vile watapata kazi. Neguo, ile maneno tunaagiza kutoka nje, sijui tunaagiza furniture, tunaagiza simiti, tunatoa chuma kutoka nje, hata samaki tunatoa China. Mimi nimesema kuanzia mwaka huu hakuna samaki itatoka China tena. Tulikubaliana mambo ni bottom kwenda up. Kuanzia mwezi wa 10 mimi nitalaunch ile universal health coverage.
The highlight of the tour being yesterday's meeting with the Mount Kenya leaders, which entailed improving service delivery to the nation. The head of state visit has taken a significant stride in development, expected to benefit residents of the Mount Kenya region. Leonette Maina, KUTV.
And 8 months after the transition of the junior secondary school across the country, the government is yet to build enough laboratories for the students. While appearing before the Senate today, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu cited that more funds are still needed to build more than 1,800 school laboratories required by the JSS students. The CS also answered questions on the inclusion of people living with disability in the CBC curriculum, as WAJIR reports.
Mr. Speaker, before
Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu, while underscoring the performance of the Ministry of Education on various issues, noted that the country is still adapting to the CBC curriculum as recommended by the Presidential Working Party on Education reforms, but with reviews. According to Machogu, despite the efforts made by the government to fully implement the curriculum, more funds are still needed to establish about 1,867 school labs for JSS.
We are in the process of trying to get funds to construct integrated resource centers and sanitation facilities, and the amount we are looking at is 3.36 billion. We have already had an engagement with the World Bank, and we hope that we should be able to access these funds.
On the steps that have been taken to ensure inclusion of people living with disability in the CBC curriculum, Machogu has said that his ministry is conducting a survey to establish the number of students living with disability in order to enhance proper distribution of funding.
We will be able to get in this, it will inform our decisions going forward so that we are able to know the number of those with disability in the normal regular schools, so that when we are forwarding capitation, it is done taking that into consideration.
Among other issues raised was also the prohibition of religious attires in public schools, especially for Muslims, where the CS extended a warning to school principals, citing that no student should be prohibited to practice their religion as it is part of the constitution.
Provide that every child has the right to free and compulsory basic education, and religious beliefs and practices cannot therefore be used to prevent children from accessing this right.
This comes days after the Presidential Working Party on Education reforms handed their report to the President, which the CS noted is in the process of being implemented. Ruth Wanjiru for KU TV.
All right, we're taking a short break here on Primetime News. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Right, welcome back to Primetime News. Now, the 6th annual Interdisciplinary Health Conference at Kenyatta University kicked off today, commencing a 3-day collaboration among different health and humanity professionals on mitigating pandemics, climate change, and chronic diseases in Africa. The conference brought together health and humanity scientists drawn from across the continent and was graced by the chief guest, Oladele Ogunsetan, a professor of population health from California University, San Francisco.
A battery of health personnel, students, tutors, and researchers drawn from all over the continent converge at the Confucius Institute at Kenyatta University and are set to warm the seats of the conference hall for the next 2 days as curtains draw for the 6th annual Africa Interdisciplinary Collaboration. This year's theme being mitigating pandemics, climate change, and chronic diseases in Africa, so much is set to be deliberated on measures to help the vulnerable who are still affected by the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to Justice Osoro, Planning Committee Chairman for Push Aid Africa, the organization that laid ground for this conference.
During COVID-19, the most recent pandemic which we've had, we all experienced reduced access to essential goods and services. There was increased poverty, food security, critical disruption of our education system.
Gracing this year's edition of the Africa Interdisciplinary Health Conference was Oladele Ogunsetan, a professor in charge of the Faculty of Population Health at the California University, San Francisco. Professor Oladele, in his keynote speech, elaborated the need for competency-based education in health training, insisting that specific pathways for students should be considered before adopting any academic curriculum.
These pathways need to be envisaged and reflected upon before training and managed formatively, continuously, and summatively during the curriculum cycle.
Kenyatta University, the host of the working conference, was fully represented by Professor Caroline Thurua, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Research and Innovation, who rallied for institutional support in research to reinforce disease mitigation.
There is a strong consensus that Africa faces significant challenges in chronic disease research, practice, and policy. The health challenges in Africa are multifaceted and interconnected, requiring us to embrace a holistic approach to unravel the complex web of factors that influence health outcomes and devise innovative solutions that address multi-layered causes of ill health.
At the Confucius Institute here at Kenyatta University, the 6th annual Interdisciplinary Health Conference has officially been flagged off, paving way for day-long interdisciplinary collaboration sessions, along with this year's theme of mitigating pandemics, climate change, and chronic diseases in Africa. Munana Weru for KU TV.
Now, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the National Treasury have today released a report on salary adjustments for the year 2023-2024. The remuneration review was about harmonization to achieve equity and fairness, with civil servants receiving salary increment of 7 to 10%. Teachers are the biggest beneficiaries, receiving 44.2% of the total allocated budget of 21.7 billion shillings. Edward Nyamo has this report.
The chairperson for Salaries and Remuneration Commission, Lynn Mengich, and the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndongo, today released a report on salaries adjustment based on the allocated budget of 21.7 billion shillings. According to the budget, the executive will receive 126 million, Parliament receiving 78 million, Judiciary receiving 305 million, Civil Service receiving 1.8 billion, Police and Military receiving 4.5 billion, as County Government and Teaching receive 4 and 9.5 billion shillings respectively.
The third strategy which I talked about is labor productivity. Kenya's labor productivity remains low compared to other countries. According to the International Labour Organization 2021 statistics on labor productivity, Kenya is ranked at number 151 out of 185 countries globally. And
Mengich states that high revenue collection that drives economic growth requires collaborative effort in public service to improve labor productivity. She further said that salary structures for institutions above the 50 percentile, including the State Corporation and Public Officer, shall be retained. Adjustments are to be done on the state officers being at 46%, civil service at 39%, teaching service at 36%, and public universities at 49%.
So the message here is that when we look at the wage bill in absolute terms, which you will see in the numbers, it will continue to grow in absolute terms. And the reason for that growth is largely because as a developing country, we shall continue to recruit in key sectors, that is health, teaching, and security. Indeed, as a country, we are yet to achieve the desired ratios for teacher to student, or healthcare to population ratio, or security to population ratio.
The National Treasury, on the other hand, outlined that increase in employees' number is a key contributor to the increase in the wage bill, and higher tax collection will contribute to economic development. Additionally, Professor Ndongo highlighted that lowering transaction costs will improve profitability, adding that digitization of transaction through the e-citizen will ensure seamless service delivery.
To your attention that the government has rolled out framework of productivity and performance to support to support this rewarding the reward structure. So when we reward productivity and performance, the public sector is aiming to increasing its efficiency. And for us, that is very, very important, because service delivery, especially under the e-citizen, is very, very important, because it's going to improve public sector delivery, how public sector delivers its service, and how efficient it will be.
The Salaries Review report comes at the time when the Finance Act is still in court, pending hearing. The reforms by the SRC seeks to adjust remuneration and benefiting structures that are below the target mark position of 50 percentile. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Now, in the world of business tonight, the government has decided to split the National Oil Corporation of Kenya, that is NOC, into 3 different entities with different mandates in its plan to help the dwindling state-owned entity, which has gone bankrupt. Treasury has also announced a reduction of the emergency loan expenditure taken from the Central Bank of Kenya in the recent 6 months.
The government has announced plans to hand over more than 100 fuel stations owned by the National Oil Corporation of Kenya, NUC, to a private investor in order to save the company from collapse. As a part of the restructuring process, NUC will be split into 3 subsidiaries, with the downstream market entirely responsible for the fuel stations being run profitably by the private investor. The split involves elevating NUC's current critical roles to form NUC Upstream Limited, NUC Downstream Limited, and NUC Trading Limited. Under the new proposals, NUC Upstream Limited will handle exploration and upstream production activities and services. NUC Trading Limited will operate in the midstream, specializing in holding strategic stocks of petroleum products for imports and exports, while NUC Downstream Limited will focus on marketing and distribution of petroleum products.
Elsewhere, the government has also reduced its reliance on emergency loans from the central bank to support essential expenses, reaching a 6-month low. This shift reflects improved cash flow in the initial month of implementing the William Ruto administration's first annual budget. The recent data from the CBK indicates that the outstanding overdraft decreased to 48.18 billion in the last week of July. This marks the lowest point since January 20, when it was 32.32 billion. And in a recent report from the Intergovernmental Relations Agency, the national government currently retains control over devolved functions valued at 272.2 billion. These functions have not yet been transferred to counties even after the inception of devolution. The report, submitted to the Senate Committee on Devolution, proposes that these functions should be shifted to counties and the associated funds be allocated from the national government yearly budget. The report is pending Senate approval for implementation. Yvonne Kemuma, KU TV.
Now, the government is making efforts to tackle Kenya's rising public wage bill that undermines development expenditure both in national and county level. An audit report in Wajir County has revealed illegalities in the county's staff recruitment, with some staff being hired without following due process. The report also indicates that the county still operates on manual payroll instead of adopting the implementation of integrated personnel and payroll system.
A human resource audit by Wajir County government has revealed that the devolved unit has at least 4,338 staff, with the majority being in top and bottom positions. The audit by the Public Service Board revealed that majority of the county staff were hired without following due process, including advertising for the positions, while others were never interviewed. Speaking during the launch of the report in Wajir town on Tuesday, Wajir Governor Ahmed Abdullahi promised to correct the mess without victimizing anybody.
Then there's the question of the manual payroll. Manual payroll. People who are not getting into the IPPD, but they've been working for long.
The county faces a challenge of irregular promotion of staff, where some are promoted twice a year when others have never been promoted. Governor Abdullahi said his administration has been struggling to decentralize resources to the grassroots due to unclear workforce, but the audit report has now cleared the way.
Irregular appointments, you find somebody who's been appointed twice in a year, while others have not been appointed for 10 years. Have not been promoted. Someone has been promoted twice a year, while others have not been promoted. Illegalities in the recruitment process.
Governor Abdullahi has given Wajir Water and Sewerage Company a 90-day ultimatum to improve on their operations or be disbanded. He cited laxity at the company, warning that he will not hesitate to revert water management services to the Department of Water.
I have given Wajosco 90 days to get its act together, to demonstrate viability and sustainability. If Wajosco does not demonstrate viability and sustainability within 90 days, I will dissolve Wajosco.
Julie Ongaki, KUTV.
All right, we're taking another short break here on Primetime News. Coming back, we will be taking a look at sports news. Stay with us.
Everybody wanna feel
Right, and on sports, Nyanza representatives Gorosare shared a poll with their western counterparts Shanderema in day 2 of the ongoing national secondary school games held in Kakamega County. In the women category, Valerie Nekesa put Madera, the soccer assassins, ahead at the Bohongo Stadium before Edna Wauda cancelled out Division 1 Golden Boot winners' effort to make it 1-1 5 minutes before halftime. Ruthless Butere welcomed debutants, combining with 5-0 thorough beating to bag all 3 points to take full control of Group A with 4 points. Right, that brings us to the end of our primetime news tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Samuel Kelo has been our sign language interpreter. My name is Joseph Kels. Until we meet again another time, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good night.